Get ready with me as I tell you about my proposal. So my fiance, that feels so weird to say. My fiance and I have been talking about getting engaged for a while. We went ring shopping like quite a long time ago. And timeline wise, we had talked about getting engaged before the end of the year. I knew, because we've talked about it many times, that his number one requirement for a proposal is that both of our parents are there, because we're both really, really close to their families. And he just felt like that was such a special moment that he wanted to share with everybody. And I totally agreed and thought that that was really sweet. And I knew that I was flying out of town for Christmas on the 22nd. So I had a feeling it was happening before then. So we actually met like long before we really started dating. I was just in school and trying to make some extra money, and I was an assistant to an event planner. She was planning a birthday party for one of her good friends and knew that I was a singer. So she asked me if I would sing a few songs at this birthday party. I was like, yeah, of course. That ended up being Hunter's stepmom's birthday. That was the first time that we met. We ended up chatting the whole night and then going on a date to a restaurant that we now live like walking distance from, which is very cute. We first met at the Jonathan Club because that's where this birthday party was being held. The Jonathan Club is sort of like a country club, town club thing, and it was held on the roof. So that's where we first met. So I kind of always thought that maybe that's where he would do it. And I was pretty sure it was happening this weekend that it ended up happening. I wasn't 100% sure, but I was fairly certain because I knew his parents were in town, my parents were in town. It was right before I was leaving. It was kind of the end of the year. So I made sure that I had, cute outfits and that my nails were done and everything. So I had asked him earlier in the week if we had any plans that weekend. And then he said, there's a holiday party at the Jonathan Club on Friday night if you want to go. And my little alarm system went off and was like, ooh, maybe it's that. But then I got thrown off because one of my best friends texted myself and my other best friend saying, I made us reservations for brunch on Saturday morning. And that's not crazy. Like, we do stuff like that all the time. But in my head, I was like, oh, maybe he's trying to get me to go to brunch with my friends so he can get me out of the house. So then I was thinking maybe it's happening on Saturday. Then on Friday, I'm talking on the phone with my mom, and my parents had been in San Francisco the night before for my dad's work holiday party. And my mom very casually said something about, we're still in San Francisco. And I was like, what? Because I knew that he wanted our parents there. So now I'm getting really sad and I'm like, oh my gosh, is this not happening tonight? And apparently my mom was actually texting Hunter at that time being like, don't panic if Morgan tells you that we're still in San Francisco. We're not. I was just trying to throw her off. Sure enough, I called him right after and was like, dang, I kind of thought maybe we were gonna propose tonight, but my parents are still in San Francisco. And he was like, well, we're still gonna have a super fun night. So there's no reason why you shouldn't just look beautiful and feel good. And I was like, okay. Then this woman who basically is like my grandmother called me on Friday and was like, so are you engaged yet? And I was like, no. And she was like, God, I could have sworn your mom told me it was happening today. And so in my head, I was like, but my mom's in San Francisco, so it's probably happening tomorrow. And also this woman, I love her to death. She's like kind of old and kind of loony. I was like, she probably doesn't really know what's going on. So I didn't take that to heart too much. And I started really thinking it was probably happening on Saturday. Meanwhile, I'm FaceTiming my mom this whole time, and I think she's in San Francisco, but she's actually at her house. So she's trying to find plain white walls where I won't recognize the background on FaceTime. And I kept FaceTiming her. So we get to the Jonathan Club and I see all these people that I don't know dressed to the nines. And so I'm like, oh wow, we're actually going to a holiday party. And we go into the elevator up to the roof, which is again where we first met. And we get to the top level and there's all these signs in frames. They actually said junior mixer this way. And so I'm like, oh my God, we're going to a junior mixer. So we get to the top where the bar is on the roof, and there's no one there. And I'm literally Hunter, this is so awkward. There's no one at this junior mixer. We need to leave. And all of a sudden I look to my left and I see this giant, beautiful Christmas tree and a whole trail of rose petals and candles. And I just start freaking out. And I was like, oh my God, Hunter, oh my God, oh my God. If it's not happening right now, you have to tell me. I'm gonna freak out. Oh my gosh, is it happening? Is it happening right now? If it's not happening, you have to tell me. I was like, I don't know, we have to see. So then I start walking down this trail of rose petals. And now I'm like, okay, this is happening. And I look over and I see a photographer. And then I'm like, I have to say hi. There's a video of me and I'm literally walking down to my proposal. I'm like, oh, hi, I'm Morgan. So we get to this giant Christmas tree in the exact same spot where we first met. And there's a little gift under the tree. And he's like, open the gift. And in my head, I was like, is he about to make me open my own ring? I think he's supposed to open the ring and get down on a knee. I open the gift and there's nothing in there. And I'm like, Hunter, there's nothing in here. And he's like, there's not. And he looks genuinely really scared. So I'm thinking someone messed up and the ring is supposed to be in this bag and the proposal's ruined. Oh my God. And that's when he gets down on one knee and pulls out the ring. And he gave me just the sweetest, most special speech ever. And I literally start screaming and jumping up and down like I'm at a sports game. I can't control my excitement. Like I'm just too excited. I'm freaking out. There's a video of that on my Instagram. I just had to share it because it's so funny. So then we get engaged. I'm like, okay, well, what do we do now? And the photographer and Hunter are like, let's get some pictures. You know, we want to like remember this moment, which also, pro tip, if you're going to propose or if you think your partner's about to propose to you, do the photo shoot at your engagement, because first of all, you get all of the genuine reaction photos, but also then you don't have to plan like an engagement photo shoot. You can just have one right there. So now we have all these like incredible photos from our engagement that we can use for save the dates and like all the stuff in the future. The photographer is like suggesting all these different places. And of course I'm like, yeah, this is a great spot. This is a great spot. And Hunter's starting to get kind of over it. And I'm like, I know he's not a big photos guy. So I'm like, okay, I think Hunter's over it. I didn't realize that was because we went down to the bar and our families were waiting there for us. And we had a whole dinner with them. And what was crazy is it was the same weekend that his parents got engaged like 20 years ago. And his sister and brother-in-law got engaged on the same rooftop. So it was just like really special for both of our families. And, you know, especially it being like the same exact place where we first met all those years ago. So then the next morning, like I said, my best friend had planned this brunch. So we go to brunch, we're just like celebrating. When I get home, a bunch of our best friends were there. Hunter had decorated the whole house with like ring decorations and balloons, and he was making mimosas. And it was just truly the most magical moment of my life. And also a fun fact, we're really into Christmas, and Hunter and I started collecting Christmas ornaments. He had gotten us a Christmas ornament that said our first engaged Christmas. Honestly, the most magical night of my life. I couldn't stop crying. I was just so grateful getting to celebrate with like our parents and our friends, and it was just so personal, and it was just like so undeniably Hunter and Morgan. Such an amazing way to start our lives together, and I'm just honestly on cloud nine. I couldn't have asked for anything more. And I'm a fiance.